What is up, everybody? Hey, let's talk about scooter maintenance. So if you want to be on the road on your scooter year-round, or even if you just want to ride for fun recreationally, it is crucial to have good maintenance going on with your scooter. So for me, I commute. I go about 7 to 8 miles per day, which equates to about 100 miles a month. And I will say that maintenance is what keeps me safe, and it's what makes riding my scooter more fun and reliable. And if you're putting any heavy mileage on, I would recommend that, like every 100 miles, you do some basic maintenance. So the things you want to look out for when it comes to maintenance is not like complete overhauls of your scooter. That is just unnecessary. What I'm more focused on is everything that touches the pavement and that keeps you upright. So we want to focus on tires, we want to focus on brakes, and we want to focus on bolts. If there was a B word for tires, I would use that too, because then it could be BBB and it'd be easy to remember, but alas, there's not. So TBB, tires, brakes, and bolts. Let's start with our tires. Initially, when I was riding my scooter, I got a lot of flats, and come to find out that the tire that was shipped with the scooter, it had one of the wires that is part of the structure of the scooter was poking through, and it was stabbing my inner tubes. So I ended up swapping out tires and sliming my tires. I would highly recommend, if you haven't done it already, or if your scooter didn't come with slime in it, just lime your tires. Yeah, it's going to cut down on your speed by a fraction. I saw that I lost maybe a mile an hour on average with having slime in my tires, but I don't have to worry about flats nearly as often. So you want to check your tires, make sure that they are properly inflated. Having properly inflated tires is going to make your ride more comfortable. It's going to make it so that the other pieces, like your rims and your motors, are going to operate properly. And it all has to do with proper tire inflation. It's going to help you with your handling, your top speeds, all of it. So make sure that you are properly inflating your tires at least once a month. Now we're going to move to the brakes. So I'm going to say that you want to check out your brakes at least once a month. Make sure that they are in good condition. You're going to check your brake pads. And this is, ooh, that is pretty. Hello. Anyways, you want to check out the amount of material that you have on your brake pads. I used to do some resin brakes, but I've learned that the metallic brakes do far better. So I strictly do the metallic brakes. It's a couple bucks more for a set, but it is far, far superior and well worth the money. You can go ahead and get yourself some cheap parts, but in all reality, if you only have to spend a couple extra bucks to get one that's good quality, then do it. That having been said, I do love me some Amazon parts, and I usually get all of my tires from Amazon. They get here faster, and they're not nearly as expensive as getting the other stuff, and I also like the way that they perform as opposed to the factory tires that came on my scooter. Okay, so we've talked about the brake pads. Next one I want to talk about is going to be dependent upon whether or not you have hydraulic brakes. That's a fun activity for today. It's a nice day. So if you have hydraulic brakes, I'm going to say that anytime your brakes get spongy, and if you have cable brakes, anytime that your brakes are soft, which means you have to pull a lot farther to make your braking happen, I would say to adjust those. I do this about once a month. But like I said, I'm putting a lot of hours, a lot of miles on my scooter, and I want to make sure it's in top-notch condition. That way I can always trust the scooter underneath me. Now let's talk about bolts. So I say bolts because there are a few key places where things can loosen up over time. And the first spot that we want to check is the bolts for our wheel hubs. So we want to make sure that those are properly torqued down, not over torqued. We want to make sure that they're not loose, because the last thing you want to do is ride and then have your scooter go, but your wheel stays behind you. It's not going to end very pretty. So You want to make sure that you're doing that the right way. Then we want to check around the stem. So on my scooter, I have 12 bolts along the stem that keep my stem upright. And these have gotten loosened on me, and I can feel my entire stem pull back and push forward when I move. So it's important to make sure that you have those properly torqued down. And if it continues to be an issue, then you're going to want to Loctite them. This is going to keep them in place, but obviously you still want to check to make sure that they're tight. And this I do about once a month. All of these things you can do in very little time. And I would say, again, about every 100 miles, check your tires, your brakes, and your bolts, and make sure that everything is nice and snug. It's going to prolong the life of your scooter. It's going to make riding be more safe, and you're going to have a better time doing it. Now, I will say that if you want to continue to ride, you don't want to be stuck waiting for parts. The thing that I have learned to do is, let's say that I put in a new set of brake pads. The second I put in the new set of brake pads, I order a new pair. The same goes for tires and inner tubes. If I have to replace them, I buy a new one. That way, if something is to happen, I can spend the half hour to replace it and be back on the road. That way I'm not waiting for anything. Now, sometimes more costly and more unexpected things happen with the bulk of the scooter, and that's okay. Sometimes it's going to take a little bit longer than a day, but as long as you keep the general pieces in good position, or not good position, but good, what word am I looking for? Condition, not position, condition, thank you. Then it's going to make riding your scooter far more enjoyable. And the last bit is this. Maintenance and riding a scooter, they go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. A lot of people think that they can just get this scooter and ride and they don't have to worry about anything else. That is false. You have to keep in mind maintenance is just a big part of it. So as long as you stay on top of maintenance, you will be okay. It's not as scary as you think, and it's going to improve your riding so much. That is all I have for today. So y'all have fun, be safe, make good choices, and as always, have a great day.